are live with episode 10, Tokyo Goulag. How's it going, Fav?
Welcome back.
All right. We should hop right into it cuz you know what, people have been waiting for this video. It's been like a solid freaking week. I'm so sorry we took so long. We've been on hiatus doing different things, but now we can hop right into it and talk about part 2 of the Tokyo Ghoul. Oh wow. Tokyo Ghoul collab. I almost said Gulag again. Anyway,
Perfect.
so where do you want
All
to start
right.
us off?
Let's start with the units.
Oh yeah, the units. All right.
Let's start with the simpler of the two. Oh, welcome to the meat. What?
Just ignore it.
All
Okay,
right.
sorry. Twitch chat's being interesting.
I feel like we should start with the easier of the two,
Mhm.
which is Juzo.
Yeah, agreed.
So Juzo essentially has become the best fire leader skill. I've seen some people kick around the concept that if Zace ever got her guild raid buffs untied from guild raid
Mhm.
and just a genuine part for leader skill, that she'd be better.
Yeah.
I don't think that's the case. I
Mhm.
think that with the way that fire is right now, this is going like fire does not care about defense at the moment. And if
Not at
it
all.
ever came to a scenario where fire did care about defense, then Zace would not be a good replacement for this anyway. I
Yeah,
feel like we would still use this. One
absolutely.
interesting thing that I will note before we get deeper into her kit, her his kit for Tokyo Ghoul fans is that this art is actually not from season one of Tokyo Ghoul,
Hmm.
despite every other piece of art for this collab being from it.
Yeah.
See, Juzo doesn't actually get his weapon in this art, which is Jason's 13, until after season one ends,
Hmm.
which makes me wonder where this art actually came from, because this is not the same location as everything else.
Hmm.
I don't really know what they're going for here.
I mean, if we're gonna talk about art, we can take just a moment to revisit that shoe art because that was interesting. So I'm not surprised that the art is a little bit inconsistent, but at least it looks better than what that shoe looked like.
Oh, yes, it definitely looks better than Shu.
Oh yeah. So we can hop right into going from his leader skill into his extra skill, if you want to. I'll let you cover Juzo, and I can talk about a bit more about Ken because I actually haven't done any testing with Juzo yet.
Extra skill, it's just more spark and elemental weakness damage. It stacks with his lead. I keep. Okay. All right. So it's just more spark and fire elemental damage for all allies. He just gives a lot of that.
Yeah.
I know that his Brave Burst isn't really like. His Brave Burst is interesting because it gives him evasion and then extra action, which some people have speculated works against Fire RC7, but I haven't been able to test that, so we don't know that yet.
I believe it does, just in terms of based on what he gets from his SP, which we'll cover. But because Fire RC7 or I guess it would be Earth RC7 reduces the active buff for extra action by 2 turns, I believe, which means that 3 turns would be enough on top of that to get 1 turn of extra action. Though I haven't actually tried that. That's what I've been told.
Okay, we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's the case right now, but I
Mm-hmm.
will say that pretty much regardless, the Brave Burst is still extremely solid. I'm not entirely certain why they felt the need to give him enormously boosts own attack. It's because he has absolutely no issue capping attack on Brave Burst, Super Brave Burst, or UBB,
Mm-hmm.
because all of them are completely HP scale.
Yeah.
This this unit has no issue capping all of it.
Mm-hmm.
And just to add insult to injury, the evasion and extra action chances that he's giving himself are 50% each, which are incredible, especially for evasion. Like 50% evasion is super powerful.
Yeah.
SBB is more damage,
Mm-hmm.
I was checking for HP on Spark for a second there.
Mm-hmm.
Those who have actually used this will note that this perfect sparks itself, which I think makes this the first unit to fully perfect spark themselves.
Pretty insane.
I I think there might be one other unit that does it, but I don't know if it does it perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'd have to use that unit sometime, and I don't think I'm in the mood for that.
Yeah.
But suffice to say that this is super powerful. The UBB is notable for being the perfect UBB for fire if you're using it in conjunction with Master of the Hunt.
Yeah. I
And
just want to take a moment to loop back to the BB just to mention that I believe it does beat out Ghoulag in terms of damage on a single target.
oh, I have no doubt.
Yeah, it's
Double HP scaled,
mhm.
fills to max,
There's
extra
basically no
action that might
reason.
work
There's
on
basically
top
no
of
reason to use
recast.
Ghoulag at this point because Juzo leader skill is going to beat him out, and Juzo BB is going to beat him out. So if you have that, just drop your Ghoulag and replace him with a Juzo, and have yourself a ball.
I can tell you're not happy saying that.
No, not at all. Ghoulag was my boy for the longest time. Unfortunately, I'm going to be replacing him with one of the 4 Juzos that I pulled. So,
Oh,
yeah,
wonderful.
I pulled fucking 4 of them.
SP is pretty standard. You can get his SPB to be an overdrive fill SPB, which actually stands in stark contrast with the BB that you would mainly be using for like Fire RC7, but
Mhm.
I guess that makes him more useful everywhere else. So I
Assuming
guess
that
it's fine.
his BB extra action does actually work in Fire RC7, this could stack some serious overdrive fill.
Yeah, it could, but you'd have to use like the thing is that you would have to use his BB, get the extra action. It would fill to max because that's what the BB does. Then you would have to proc 60% extra action,
Mhm.
and then you could use SBB.
Yeah. I mean,
And
it's
like,
rare, but it would be some better overdrive fill than, say, Balefear.
yeah, Balefear, it's still
Fuck
a
that
huge upgrade
guy.
to Bale. You still don't really want to be UBBing in
Yeah,
Fire RC7. I'm pretty sure you can just kill everything without too much of an issue.
that's very true.
I don't think any of these other SP bear too much mentioning. It's mostly just the standard passives, which are all great.
Hmm.
And there are still some useless SPs, like allows UBB's base effects to last one additional turn, because you know what I needed when my UBB effects already last 4 turns each? I just wanted to last 5 turns.
Yeah, I want a
Let's just,
5th turn when everything's gonna fucking die by turn 5 anyway.
assuming I even get this off.
Yeah, true. Assuming
Yeah.
that Fire even wants to get it off. Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much all for Juzo. I guess we move on to Kaneki now.
Yep, that's it. All right, Kaneki time. So, before we start with Kaneki, I think we should talk about the fact that he was bugged for quite some time. Um,
Okay.
so first we'll cover his leader skill, which is, to say the least, rather odd to me.
His leader skill works perfectly at base.
Well, other than the reason I say that it's odd is that it enormously boosts thunder and light elemental damage, which makes me wonder why you would be running an elemental weakness damage squad under thunder and light. You know, what thunder light content exists out there. But regardless of that, I mean, regardless,
I
it's
mean, there's that one frontier gate from way back in the day.
no one even. Honestly, Frontier Gate is literally just throw some Cheeseroos in your squad and hit auto, or throw some Sovenars in your squad and hit auto. Like it's absurd. But anyway, so his leader skill is 140% boost to all parameters, a 300% boost to Thunder and Light elemental weakness damage, which is very good. 300% boost to elemental weakness damage is solid. Raises attack parameter limits to 160,000. 20% additional damage reduction and a 20% reduction from damage reduction for 1 turn when the damage taken has exceeded a certain amount, which is interesting. They didn't put flat mitigation on, but it really doesn't matter for the most part.
Yeah.
His extra skill. Well, before we do that, we should talk about his bug. So his SP had the ability. Obviously, I'll cover this further later, but his SP had the ability to add a 200% boost to spark damage effect to his leader skill, which, if that were active, would have made him a better leader than Hakuzo. Sorry, I couldn't get that out. Which is great. You know, a better leader than Hakuzo, I'm excited. But his 200% spark damage was acting as a passive added to self that didn't even trigger. So what actually ended up happening was that his 200% spark damage that he was gaining from his leader skill did not exist. So it was simply 300% light elemental weakness damage, which, while 300% is more than the, I believe, 225 or 250% that Hakuzo offers, it doesn't beat out the spark damage that he offers on top. So without that spark damage, he was losing out on a considerable amount of damage. Now, as of legitimately like 30 minutes ago, they fixed it. So it has been added back into the game, according to the data mine, and I believe there's been testing that shows that it's true, that it is fully fixed, that the leader skill spark is applied like it's supposed to, which means that, once again, Kaneki is the best light leader for damage in the game. So,
Yep.
Hooray! Sorry to those who, had to deal with the bug. I was frustrated, but for the next 3 hours, I'm going to go absolutely nuts in Dichroma and see how it turns out. So,
it's probably looking up to be pretty fun. I'm not sure how I'm going to edit my squads to compensate for this. I'm honestly not even sure if I should.
Yeah.
Or if I could just... apparently people want me to run Dark, so I've been sticking with Dark.
It's because your Dark is stupid overpowered.
Fair.
So next is his extra skill, which, if his leader skill and absurd kit wasn't good enough, his extra skill is, first of all, probable resistance against 2 KO attacks when Eye Patch Mask or an attack boosting sphere is equipped, and Eye Patch Mask is his sphere, which you can get from the Torture Bazaar. Boost attack and defense each turn. What'd you say?
Eye Patch Mask sucks, but we'll get to that.
It does, yeah. So it boosts attack and defense each turn up to 4 turns for all allies, which is up to a 60% attack and defense buff. Slightly reduces BB gauge required for BB for all allies, which is 10% reduced BB cost, which is the same as Q-Tong. Which, if that wasn't nutty enough, he also has a 5% damage reduction for all allies, which is also the same as Q-Tong. And he offers a 15% chance to take 1 damage to self, which is nice. So we're looking at an extra skill that genuinely makes him an upgrade, in my opinion, to Q-Tong in Hero Call, as long as you're still running 1 Q-Tong, because he's going to hit harder. So, pretty fucking nuts on the extra skill. It's pretty insane.
Imagine just... Okay, no, you couldn't do that, but...
Okay, so next this is BB, which is called Centipede.
I love this. I'm understanding the reference this is going for, but Recoome does not.
I do not.
So essentially, all of his Brave Burst quotes have to do with some part of his torture scene in the first season of the anime.
Huh.
And what this is referring to is Yamori actually, as part of his torture, sticks a centipede into this man's ear and just lets it crawl around.
Huh. All right. Well, that's not safe for life.
Yeah, it's a big-ass centipede, too.
All right. That's disgusting.
And that's why this thing is so terrifying, that it inflicts attack defense reduction every single vuln, and then for whatever reason boosts own BB gauge and greatly boosts own max HP.
Because why not? The SBB is where we start to get some, I don't want to say controversy, but some interest from the player base, some conflicting opinions. Some people believe that he was going to outclass Chizuru. We believed that he did not, and we were correct in believing so.
Yeah, I didn't think that he was gonna... I said that he would rival Chizuru in damage, and I was half right.
Yeah. So he has a basically two AoEs, one of which is HP scaled, and an HP scaled single target, which triple attacker, an innate triple attack on SBB with nothing being added from SP and extra skill is awesome, because if you get extra skill locked, you don't have to worry about losing your third attack in the case of things like, some of the VA units. But the issue that you run into with this is that the damage distribution that comes from added extra attacks from extra skill and SP, and I actually learned this from Linathan, I believe I'm quoting him correctly, is that the damage distribution works differently for extra skill and SP added triple attacks versus innate triple attacks, which causes him to deal less damage than Chizuru, along with some of the passives that he has. So he does actually lose out in damage to Chizuru, but not by an astronomical value, which means that if you're lacking Chizuru, very viable thing to slot in her place.
Yes,
on top of
absolutely.
that, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I have to use this instead of Chizuru because I only have one Chizuru, so I get to balance that out by having two Kanekis.
Yeah. Which is honestly, not bad, because that gives you an extra 20% BC cost reduction and an extra 10% flat passive mitigation. But regardless of the semantics, he also gives 220% Tri-Stat and a 20% chance of activating BB, SBB, UBB twice, which is just 20% recast, which is awesome because, that's, again, you can slot him instead of Chizuru because he also has that recast activation chance, and it doesn't come from SP, which is awesome. The last thing that he has is enormously boosts own attack relative to max HP for 3 turns, so just to convert to self.
I don't know how to feel about that convert. On one hand, it guarantees that he's going to hit the attack cap on his non HP scaled attack.
Yeah.
On the other hand, it also completely shoots you in the foot if you happened to have a stronger convert, which is not likely, by the way. It's pretty difficult to get a convert that's stronger than taking 80% of your HP and converting it to raw attack. But
yeah, I know what you mean. It's an interesting mechanic, to say the least.
It gets weird, but it's not inherently bad. It's not going to mess you up.
Yeah.
It's just something you have to keep in mind when you're using his SBB, which, again, it's a very slight thing.
Yeah.
I tend to be iffy in general on converts. That's probably why I'm...
Yeah, me too. So, next up is his UBB, which is called 993. Just kidding. It's called What's 1000 minus 7, and I'm sure Faf knows what the reference is from, so if you want to tell us, you can.
Yes, do you want to hear some fucked up shit?
As long as it's not too fucked up to put on YouTube, absolutely.
I can't guarantee that.
Well, alright, I guess we're going for it.
Alright, so this is a coping mechanism that Yamori taught Kaneki during the torture scene, where essentially Yamori would repeatedly ask him to count down from 1000 in increments of 7, and this was the only way that he kept his sanity through all of the torture. And then eventually when Kaneki gets free and starts killing Yamori, he does the exact same thing to him. And just starts making him count down from 1000 in increments of 7.
That's actually rather interesting. Okay, so now we can cover what the UBB itself does. Thanks for the lore.
Yeah, this is also why it recasts, just by the way.
Oh, makes sense. Okay, so the UBB is... actually, do you want to cover it? I know I took over for the SBB, so I guess it's your turn.
Sure. It's recast, big spark, double convert, and 55% max HP boost, which I believe may stack with what his Brave Burst gives him. I'm not
I
certain.
believe it does because it's all allies, or is that HP boost to self? No, that's all
Yeah,
allies,
but
which will stack with self.
there are
That's
weird codings between boost to max
mhm.
HP and boost to own max HP,
Yeah,
and then there's also things that give every single unit in the squad boost to own max HP.
hmm,
It gets weird,
yeah,
is the point I'm getting at.
yeah. I don't
So
know.
I don't know if that stacks or not. If it does, great. If it doesn't, still great because 55% is still higher than 35%.
Okay.
I'll take this moment to briefly discuss their DBB because that is linked to his UBB.
Hmm.
So, as I said in the previous video, this thing does get a pretty strong base because it carries over the 50% overdrive gauge boost, along with 100% evasion, a full HP restore, and
Hmm.
a LS and ES lock purge, along with their elemental synergy being Radiance,
Yeah,
which is chance to purge and negate HP and heal over time reduction effect, which can be nice but is a little bit situational. Here's the thing, this is not the DBB that either Thunder or Light wants to use,
mm-mm.
and therefore, if you don't have the DBB for this unit, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
There's not really too much reason to go for it.
Hmm.
I think that all things considered, vanilla DBB is better than this for light because of Nova.
Yeah.
And to that extent, so is Ultor and Aurelia. They really wouldn't want to do that.
Hmm.
As for Thunder, it literally doesn't give a shit
Hmm.
and will just be using either just straight Mordred UBB or if it absolutely has to, Mordred DBB, assuming you could ever get into a situation where something would last long enough against Thunder for you to do that.
Yeah.
That's what you would do.
Absolutely.
I don't know.
It's not, and Radiance as well. It's not a good synergy. I'll just come out and say it's not a good synergy. I do not like it at all.
It's
Um,
great if you're fighting something that like gives you 100% heal down, which is inflicted by 0% of things.
yeah. So I mean, it's just in every situation, especially Dichroma Vanilla DBD, and we'll get into that actually in our next video where we'll be covering some new things about DBB.
I'll also briefly mention that in regards to the UBB, there is some SP that gives it 500% light elemental weakness damage, which makes this one of the best damage UBBs for light,
Hmm.
though it does not beat Hakuzo in terms of overall damage, but it does, like, Kaneki overall beats him in terms of usability in the squad itself.
Yeah.
Hakuzo literally just existed there for to be a UBB, whereas
Hmm.
Kaneki can kind of stand on his own.
Yeah. I think that I'm going to replace Hakuzo with Kaneki and take that slight L on the Spark Vuln debuff, if only because I absolutely and adamantly refuse to take one of my three Chizurus out of my Dichroma squad.
I'm probably going to keep things as they are, if only because I respect the value of Pierce, and this does not have it.
True. Very
I don't
true.
know.
So we can move on to his SP. One thing that I wanted to note is that the value on the recast is 100%, and the value on the spark damage is 500%. The only reason, again, that he loses out in damage from his UBB to Hakuzo is because Pierce, and because Hakuzo offers a 150% spark vuln infliction at a 100%
Also, I'm
chance.
pretty sure that if you can get like one person on your team to run Hakuzo,
Mm-hmm.
then that Spark Vuln will carry
True.
over into everyone else's.
Yeah,
So
that's a fair
really,
point.
like everyone else can just run Kaneki and be
Yeah.
fine.
And we can test that later, actually. um,
Unlikely that I'll want to, but yes, we
true.
can test that later.
True. So we can move on to his SP, which is, in my opinion, phenomenal. I mean, he's got some great SP options on here. So the first one is 120% boost to attack and max HP, which is just the standard parameter boost, except 120% is pretty hefty.
A bunch
Um,
of passives,
yeah,
like the first five are all passives. The only
basically.
one that I'll mention is that the 50% additional damage reduction, that's DOT damage reduction, which I do not believe is like, correct me if I'm wrong, but with the exception of Dichroma DOT, this doesn't matter. And even in Dichroma with DOT, this won't save you.
It will not. And I believe that additional damage reduction has a cap. I just don't remember. It might be 50%. I don't remember. Um, but
Not an overall cap, but I think a passive cap of 50%.
yeah. Um, he's got his attack parameter limit break of 200,000, which is like whatever standard nuker shit. The next one is the part that was bugged, which was the 200% boost to spark damage effect to LS. He was adding that to his leader skill as a passive to himself that didn't exist. So we were like jumping to four different places at once, and it made no sense. But all that matters is that it should theoretically be fixed now, and I will be testing it later.
Yep.
Next up is all elemental damage reduction for 3 turns effective BB that might be useful to some extent in Hero Colo, but again, I wouldn't really use it. Adds boost OD gauge effect to BB and SBB, which
That's
is,
huge.
yeah, that's a big one. It's a 12% instant overdrive fill, which again helps him compete with Chizuru, but it's also added to SBB. One of the main things about Chizuru is that using Chizuru BB is the only thing that offers that overdrive gauge insta-fill, so you lose out on the monstrous damage that her SBB offers, and you don't have to worry about that with Kaneki. You can use his SBB and still get that instant overdrive gauge fill, which is great.
Unless you really, really wanted to use Centipede. I don't know. You do you.
Yeah, you do you, I guess. He adds a 600% BB mod for 3 turns effective BB SBB. Don't take this. It's not. It doesn't matter. You don't need it.
I took this on my for your. I know that I'm gonna sound like a total pengu when I say this. Your first Kaneki should
Mhm.
not take this.
Yeah,
But your second and any prior Kanekis absolutely can.
fair. Yeah. So
Uh,
BB mod is great. It just helps you hit that attack cap. So if you are struggling on those non HP scaled attacks to hit the HP cap, this will help.
yep.
The next is Tristat. In the current meta, correct me if I'm wrong, Faffer, if you disagree, but in the current meta, Tristat really doesn't matter.
Tristat can matter,
Mm-hmm.
and having higher stats is never necessarily bad.
Yeah.
But at the same time, this falls into a similar vein as the BB attack buff.
Mm-hmm.
Your first Kaneki should not be taking this. Your second Kaneki absolutely can, and mine does have this.
Yeah, your support Kaneki could. If you're like me and you have 3 Chizuru, I'm not going to be taking this because I'm only going to be running 1 Kaneki in my squad, and the other one I'm going to be building for Kalo. So,
right.
There's that. There's SBB's base effect to last an additional 1 turn. Your support Kaneki can take this. I don't really know how much that would add up to.
No, you wouldn't want to take this anyway.
Never mind.
Because the meta is Brave Burst and Super Brave Burst spam. So you should never run into a situation where you would be threatening to run out the buffs. Like, what are you trying to do? Are you spamming his Brave Burst? Why?
Yeah, fair point.
Why are you spamming Centipede?
Good old Centipede. Maybe you're using his UBB every turn. I don't know. But I wouldn't take it. It's not too useful, especially since his SBB attacks last between 2 and 3 turns, so he's more than fine. The only reason that exists is for 3-turn recast on SBB, and that genuinely does not matter at this point. So
no, because you'll be UBB looping anyway.
Mm-hmm. So the last one is adds enormous light elemental damage boost for 4 turns effect to SBB, and enormous light elemental damage boost for 4 turns effect to UBB. So we get a 225% elemental weakness damage boost to SBB, which rivals Hakuzo, and a 500% elemental weakness damage boost to UBB, which rivals Hakuzo. So he definitely enjoys being a jack of all trades. With that extra skill being extremely defensive and reducing BC cost, a monstrous nuking leader skill, SP that offers a lot of variety, and a kit that rivals Hakuzo and Chizuru in a lot of ways, blows my mind the amount of things that you can use for him.
I'd argue that given the circumstances, the full version of that phrase is applicable.
Hmm.
Yes, he's a master of all trades, but he's a jack of all trades, but he's a master of none.
Very true.
He
Very true.
can't beat Chizuru in sheer damage. He
Hmm.
can't beat Hakuzo in nuking UBB.
Hmm.
And he can't beat Q-Tong with that extra skill of his because every Kalo squad is going to still want at least one Q-Tong, even if every single other one is replaced by a Kaneki.
Yeah. I mean, personally, my Colo squad is going to look like, the normal Fenia vanilla and then two Kanekis and a Chizuru. Because Kaneki is going to be a little bit spooky in Colo, considering how much harder he's going to hit than Q-Tong. And 100% mitigation on a Kaneki and 100% mitigation on a Q-Tong is going to be scary,
But
to
you
say
don't
the
even have
least.
a Q-Tong in that team.
What?
You just said
Vanilla, Fenia, two Kaneki, and a Q-Tong?
you said Chizuru is the
Oh,
last
I
one.
don't know why the hell I said Chizuru. Honestly, I say Chizuru all the time because
Because
I'm
I
always talking
thought
about how
because she
amazing
had
Chizuru
AI
is.
null,
Well, she's
Chizuru
great.
would make more sense.
No, I use Fenia over Chizuru for several reasons.
Okay.
Um, which we could actually cover again in a later video if, there's more to cover on Colo. But
No, I
regardless,
understand
yeah.
why. I thought you were saying that intentionally the first time. I was like, so you're going no mitigator.
Oh, no, there's just
That
something. I just can't speak. Um, so that pretty much covers Kaneki. So I guess we can move on to the Vortex Dungeon and the Bazaar. And the spheres, of course, alongside
I'll
that.
say it this time. I remember complaining last time about the Vortex Dungeon being so overwhelmingly easy. Like this was the first one, the
Mhm.
one against Shu.
Yeah.
Uh, Yamari's is quite a bit harder in the sense that I can't normal attack it to death anymore, but
Hmm.
that doesn't mean it's hard.
Yeah.
I don't know how the mechanics of the fight works because I've never had the fight go on for longer than 6 turns, and even then, I had to really try
Hmm.
in order to get it to last that long.
Yeah.
I bet if I was building a squad optimized for it, he wouldn't even make it past turn 2.
Yeah. The issue that you run into with Yamori is he's just one big damage check. You just beat the shit out of him and it's over. There's nothing interesting whatsoever about it other than go in, beat the shit out of it, and get out.
He full
My
heals at one point.
mhm,
I remember that.
yeah.
I think he time skipped some of my units
Hmm.
like one at a time, and that's it.
Yeah. And in my opinion, the most frustrating part out of all of this was that they took a very easy vortex dungeon, which Yamori is not difficult, and you put 100 exalted tokens as the reward.
That's yeah.
Exalted tokens were and should still be the most difficult thing to obtain in the game in terms of redeemable tokens. Instead, it became a joke. Now anyone can have 4 victory chance or 3 victory chance in a formless chroma. When previously dichroma was meant to be a challenge to overcome in order to receive these things, now it's just like here's free insignias, here's free whispering shards. It just doesn't feel great. If the goal of this was to give more insignias, you should have just given straight insignias. If the goal
Fun
of this,
fact:
uh-huh.
for those who don't know how the Exalted Bazaar works, you
Hmm.
can trade in 10 Exalted tokens for 10 insignias. You
Hmm.
can do this 15 times, and then you can trade those 100 insignias for 10 summon tickets. So essentially, one of your rewards for beating Yamari is the potential to get 10 summons.
Which, again, you should not have given out exalted tokens to do this. If you meant to give out insignias, you should have given out insignias. If you meant to give out tickets, you should have given out tickets. You should not have given an opportunity to bypass the arguably the hardest content in the entire game in order to just do a vortex dungeon once and get your free stuff and get out.
To be
Dichroma.
fair, 100 tokens won't get you a lot in the Dichroma Bazaar,
Mhm.
especially if you have all of the good things already
Well, sure.
And even then, like, if you don't have the good things already bought, which again would require doing dichroma,
Hmm.
100 tokens isn't enough to buy everything that's singularly amazing from the Bazaar. So, on one hand, while I still don't think they should have given out dichroma tokens
Yeah.
or exalted tokens for this, I
Hmm.
think they gave just enough to the point where people will be like, oh, these are really powerful and I want to get a lot more of these. So I
Hmm.
better do dichrome. And then they learn how hellish that is.
And it created an influx of frustration for players of mine and Faf's caliber, where we just get an infinite request of people asking, carry me, carry me, carry me, I can't do dichroma, I want to do dichroma, carry me. Which, I do carries. I help people wherever I can, but I don't want to receive an influx of 20 DMs of people asking me to carry them in dichroma because they got a taste of the Exalted Bazaar, right? The Exalted Bazaar is there to reward players who have gotten to a point where they have cleared most content, they have become end game players, and are now tackling something of a new difficulty. It's not meant to just give away the rewards.
As someone like maybe my position is a little bit marred on this
Mm-hmm.
by how fast I beat Yamari.
Mm-hmm.
But in your opinion, what is the closest comparable difficulty of content to Yamari? Like, what piece of content is Yamari about on par with? Because to me, he felt like a boss from not one of the GGCs, but
Almost like a
something.
like an easier GQ boss, like something easy from Fates of the Fallen. Not the difficult stuff like Saskia, Sovenar, Serenthis, but the easier stuff. You know, maybe like that fight between Balefir and Zuria, where you have to kill Arion and Valen at the same time. Like it was that level of difficulty. It was a pushover, but
That was bullshit.
yeah, and I
That
just
was that was a bullshit fight. That wasn't even difficult. That was just this is one thing that you must do, and if you do anything else over
yeah,
15 turns, you die.
it was bullshit, but at the same time, it was stupid easy and felt like it should have been more difficult. And that's exactly how I feel about Yamori. It's just I clicked, yeah, like a stage one rift boss. That's a really good way of putting it.
But
Like,
yeah, but comparing it to that implies a level of if you mess up, you die. But I
mhm.
never felt like that with Yamari. I never
I just
felt
clicked auto
like
and walked away. Like,
exactly. You can't do that with the Zeruia fight. You'll die.
yeah,
But with
it was.
I don't know.
I don't know what I
Maybe
would
I'm getting
compare
too
it to.
tied up in semantics,
Yeah, I don't know what I would compare it to. I would just say that it was much too easy for the reward that it offered.
as it usually is. And this is coming from like so for those just coming in from the Tokyo Ghoul collab. Normally, when we get collaboration dungeons or even most Vortex dungeons, what Gumi has made a habit of doing over the past few months is adding in a literal hard mode. So it's
Hmm.
literally a separate mission with like hard on it, and it's significantly harder to the point where in game players might even struggle to beat it sometimes.
Hmm.
And those are always really fun because it's always a natural extension of whatever the regular boss fight does. Gives you an excellent chance to learn the fight. It's really just fun to do, but this wasn't the case for Tokyo Ghoul.
Hmm.
For whatever reason, they decided not to do this for the collab. Instead, the fight after Yamari is against three random ghouls, which are just reskinned Giraids, which is.
Hmm.
Yeah, I was thoroughly disappointed. I did not think I was going to be up against three Giraids. I thought I was going to be up against some super powered Yamari,
Yeah.
which I would have loved the
Hmm.
shit out of.
And by the way, it does not constitute increasing the difficulty by making it 50 energy to do. That was that was a joke. I don't know why the energy cost was increased to 50, but that was a joke.
Yeah, I don't
That
know.
makes it
Maybe to
infinitely
help.
harder to farm for newer players as well. Which, if the goal of the Tokyo Ghoul collab is to bring in newer players, why make it so much more difficult for them to farm it?
Yeah.
If you want to
Why
see
is
a...
there already a
Hmm?
stream clip posted
I
that
don't know.
says Faf is finally going through puberty?
I don't know, but I'll watch it after, and if it's good, I'll put it in the description. If you
Jesus
want to see
Christ.
what I believe they should be basing their fights off of for collabs, check out, if you can find it, some of the mechanics or even a video of the All Might fight or the Logi fight. Those were from two different collabs that were extremely well done. Logi had a gimmick, and it was such a difficult gimmick to figure out that people were putting in support tickets to try to find out what it was. All
I don't
Might,
even remember
yeah,
what
it
Logi's
was.
gimmick was.
I
I
believe it
remember
was he would
All Might, but I
activate.
don't remember Logi.
Logi would activate an Angel Idol depending on what element you were attacking him with. I believe. Um, and
Oh.
and
So
so
he would just,
yeah,
okay, he would just loop the fight for.
exactly. It would take literally forever, which was awesome. So well done. So it wasn't difficult, but it was such a good mechanic that we were left wondering to the point of having to put in a support ticket. All Might was awesome too, but this just leaves me going, is there more? When I finished stage 2, I went, cool, all right, next part. Wait, that's it? I
It's
was so
just three
disappointed.
ghouls.
I was frustrated.
That fight literally exists to prevent people from having to fight Yamari multiple times, and
Mm-hmm.
then the daily mission just goes ahead and has you do that anyway. What?
I was extremely frustrated with the current state of the Vortex Dungeon. But at the same time, I hold out hope that some of our feedback is being heard and maybe the next collab will be better. But you'll hear
You
it here
gave
if
us
it is
Brave
better.
Petal.
Yeah, Brave Petal. So I guess actually we can move on to the Bazaar now and some of the things that are in there. Brave
Yep.
Petal is one of those things. For those of you who don't
Yes,
know,
it's an Elgif,
mhm,
and it is. So there is an Elgif in the game that you unlock near the end, like 100 or so stages into a frontier gate called Endless Crusade,
mhm,
which is a almost like not quite infinite. It's got like 910 stages to it.
mhm.
Dungeon that caps out rewards like floor 200. That's not the point. The point is that the Elgif you get from that is called Perpetual Darkness, and it's notable for being the only Elgif in the game that adds 10% passive damage reduction.
Mhm.
And what Brave Petal is essentially an upgraded form of Perpetual Darkness. It
Mhm.
isn't adding any more than 10%, but it's adding so many things like on top of that 10%, such as actually giving HP and giving some other things besides just a little bit of BB and heal regeneration.
Yeah,
That Brave Petal is probably one of the better Elgifs in the game. I'm hesitant to say that it's the best Elgif for what it is, because defensive Elgifs in general aren't exactly lauded
I'd call it the
most of the
best for
time.
Kahlo.
Yeah.
I'd extend that. I'd say it's the best for Kahlo. People can disagree with me, but I'd say it's the best, assuming that you're doing the meta.
Even if I was doing them, I don't know. I haven't done Colo Meta, so I don't feel qualified
Kahlo
to
meta
speak on
is
that at the
just
moment.
5% 5% passive reduction or passive MIDI extra skills and as many 100% uh, mitigation and 0 BC units as you can possibly get.
Nice to see that nothing has changed at all.
It probably won't for a long time. Heavenbinder, here I come.
Oh boy.
Kill me. All right, so
The other Elgifs are nowhere near that good.
Mhm.
Brave Torturer is notable in being the only Elgif in the game that gives a 200k attack limit break,
Mhm.
but is otherwise completely mediocre. So if
Yeah.
you ever have a really, really old nuker that you want to quickly bring up to par that doesn't quite have 200k attack limit break, and for whatever reason you don't have any other sphere that can raise it to like 180k or something,
Victory chant
and that's your
190k.
only option, then, well, the victory chant isn't exactly the best gauge of that. I mean, you're asking people to go out and do dichroma now,
Hachiman
which
song
we just
180k.
said. We
um,
just got done talking about this.
true.
All right. But if you have literally no other options, the Brave Torturer, I guess, does that. I'm going to go ahead and briefly mention that even though the Elgif would technically go with Yamari, do not put this on Yamari. I swear if I see one more person put this on Yamari, I'm going to throw something. Yamari does not want Brave Torturer as an Elgif, just like Kaneki does not want Brave Ghoul as his Elgif.
If you put Brave Ghoul on your Elgif, I'm coming to your house and I'm slapping you.
You just said put Brave Ghoul on your Elgif.
Look, I've never been the most adept at speaking, but y'all know what I meant. If you put Brave Ghoul on your Kaneki, I'm coming to your house and I'm slapping you.
Good.
Don't disrespect my boy Kaneki like that. Did you cover Brave Gourmand?
I honestly forgot what Brave Gourmand does.
It's a 30% boost to all parameters. Spark damage boost BB gauge. It's 1 to 2 BC fill on Spark. 80% spark damage and 100% chance to heal 300 to 400 HP on Spark.
So it's shit.
Yeah, it's this. I mean, for what it's worth, it's the second Elgif that it's the best Elgif in the game for HP on Spark. But why? Just why?
I get the feeling at that point. The number of times where I use HP on Spark in particular is incredibly low. I think the only element where that has any sort of relevancy is Thunder, and Thunder has other ways to cover that that don't involve this weird Elgif that you would not want to put on anything, and do not put this on Shu for the love of God.
Yeah, don't.
I would prefer if you put Brave Spring on Shu rather than this
disgusting mess.
Symbol of mediocrity. I was struggling for words for a second.
I completely understand. So I think that... Oh, wait. Eye patch mask.
Oh, what does this do again? I remember it. All
it's
I
in
remember
spam.
is that it was...
Wait, what?
And that said we would get to it.
Is it... What's it?
I'm going to go ahead and say before we actually pull it up that basically... Alright, so this is what Eye Patch Mask does. It's 50% attack and max HP, 200% crit, and 30% critical hit rate, but that doesn't matter. Boosts attack relative to remaining HP, which is basically like regular HP scaling. And it's apparently 100% attack at 100% HP, which is nice, I guess. 60% chance of 150% spark crit and 15% HP absorption.
Yeah, I feel that. Keep going, by the way. I just have to go for just one moment.
What's going on? Hello?
Sorry.
Hello?
Sorry about that. I'm here.
What happened?
Just someone upstairs I had to yell at.
Okay.
You're good. Go ahead.
So the reason that this is bad, I guess the primary reason that we can just throw out is that this doesn't have any elemental weakness damage on it, which Kaneki would desperately want. But that's not what makes this awful, because on its face, this sphere is great for a returning or new player, because this is significantly better than most stat boost spheres. But in terms of the meta, this thing is never going to get used.
Yeah. It's just... Yeah. I wouldn't use it. And in the case of Kaneki, in most cases, you'll just use an attack boosting sphere instead, like Victory Chant.
Yep. Which is the same for... I think Toka has this restriction as well. It's either Rabbit Mask or an attack boosting sphere. And Rabbit Mask is not a bad sphere. Not even on Toka. Rabbit Mask is great for her. But the problem is that in pretty much every instance, there is an attack boosting sphere that you would want that's better than that. Like, if you're... For a new player, Rabbit Mask or Eye Patch Mask on these units is probably going to be the best option for them, because there's not really many incredibly accessible, extremely good attack boosting spheres that I can think of off the top of my head. Other than like Ema, but even then this is far and away beats Ema.
Yeah.
So I guess it's not necessarily that the sphere is bad, it's that when you're looking at it in terms of when it will run out of usefulness,
Mhm.
it it has a skill cap of sorts.
Yeah.
And Rabbit Mask manages to get around this skill cap simply by nature of it being able to add stealth. Whereas this thing's main gimmick is the ability to add 60% chance of 150% spark crit, which is nice, but I would prefer 100% chance of 150% spark rather than 60% chance of 150% spark.
Yeah. I I agree with that. Yeah.
I don't know.
I
I
yeah. I
guess
just
I'm reading through, and I guess you could also use this to fulfill Sheriff's extra skill.
yay, I guess.
If you, I think would this be counted as one of the best crit spheres in the game? Like, what is Obrim classified as?
I want to say it's a crit sphere. What
Let me
type is
look at Obrim.
Vulcanax?
I know Vulcanax is a crit
I
sphere, but
believe it's the
Obrim is
same.
an upgraded. So Obrim is also a crit
Yeah.
sphere. So no, it doesn't even have the distinction of being the best crit sphere because Obrim gives 150% crit and elemental damage. Elemental damage is more valuable hard
Obram
stuff.
is fire. I love Obram.
Obrim is awesome,
Yeah,
but
it really
yeah,
is. So, I think that covers everything in the Bazaar to my knowledge. I think there's another Yamari in there if you really want it. Go for it.
yeah, you can Omni plus 3 your Yamari if you really want.
Lucky you. I believe that covers everything, correct?
Yep.
All right. Well, any closing comments on your end?
Fucking chicken.
Fucking chicken. Every episode we have to say it. Fucking chicken. It's pretty sick. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys. I am going to end the video here. If you have any questions, any comments, any feedback, leave them down in the description. Just one thing that I wanted to say, huge thank you to Caden for being our first Patreon subscriber, currently our only Patreon subscriber. You are a freaking legend. And any other things, hit the subscribe button. Cool. Thanks so much, guys. Catch you later.